immediately went to something about the holes.
Yeah, yeah,
It went
yeah,
to about the
yeah. Okay, all right. Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute, and I have a fantastic young lady. Heather, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I feel like a woodpecker in a lumberyard. I'm telling you, whenever I have a woman on, I get a little giddy.
Well, you're welcome for that.
Oh, hey, I tell you. Well, let's start. Are you in New Hampshire? Is that correct?
Yep, I live in southern New Hampshire. Currently I'm in Richmond.
Were you born and raised in New Hampshire?
I was born I've been raised in New Hampshire. I was born in Boston. So about
Okay.
the first decade of my life I was in Holliston, Massachusetts, which is not far from like about an hour from Boston.
Okay.
And then we moved up here when I was a teen and been here ever since. So I guess I have to say I'm
Pardon
from
my
here.
ignorance. Pardon my ignorance, but how far is it from Boston to where you are now?
About 2 hours. It's not
Okay.
bad.
All right.
Yeah.
And I always see that in New England. Does that mean you're a Patriots fan?
Oh yeah, yeah. Where we bleed
What
the
about the
Patriot
Red?
blood.
What about the Red Sox? Are you a Red Sox fan too?
I'll put that on to relax myself sometime because I like the audio. But I'm an all Boston's fan. But when it
The Orioles, my Baltimore Orioles beat the Boston Red Sox yesterday in their home opener.
oh my, that was the first and only Red Sox game I've ever seen. Was an Orioles Boston Red Sox game when I was
I'm
in
an
college.
Orioles fan. Let's move on. When did you start doing comedy?
I started comedy about a year and a half ago.
Okay,
Year
year
and a
and a
half
half
ago.
ago. And a year and a half ago, was there a catalyst? Was there something that said, Heather, go start doing comedy?
I like to attribute it to a midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
No,
You don't
um,
look you don't look old enough to have a midlife crisis.
I like to say I turned 40, I bought a Great Dane and started comedy. So if that's everything you need to know about
Okay,
me.
yeah, yeah, wow, wow, wow. You jumped ahead
Um,
there.
but yeah, there was a true catalyst. About the summer before that, I hosted a trivia for a local brewery around here. I did I'm very dog obsessed. And when I got up on stage with the microphone, my husband, his brain broke because of my comfort level. And I was, in theater as a kid. It was always my favorite thing, but not a trajectory I thought I was ever truly going to take. And my husband and I ended up on Bert Kreischer's cruise. I don't know if you're familiar with his fully
I know
loaded.
Bert Kreischer takes off his shirt. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah, the machine. So about a year and a half ago, he had a fully loaded comedy festival on a cruise ship. And if you're hopping on from like island to island, sometimes you get diverted and they can't dock because the oceans are too choppy. So that happened one day, and they had to readjust the itinerary, and they did an open mic. And my husband said, "You should do it," and I was like, fuck no, no, I can't write. I didn't think I could ever write anything. So
Okay.
I sat there and thought, he goes, "You're never going to see these people again. This is your one chance to just give it a shot." And I thought really hard about it. I'm like, but I'm following all the best comedians. I'm not following them, but everybody's here watching all these, like Mark Normand, all these great comics. And finally, I was like, fuck it. Took 40 minutes, wrote down a very amateur set. They gave us each 3 minutes. Um, Catherine Blanford, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She was the one to introduce me on stage, which was incredible.
Okay.
And I did 3 minutes and I made people laugh. And ever since then, I got home from the cruise, I started writing and started looking for open mics around the area. And yeah, and here I am like year and a half later, and I can't stop.
Okay. I know you're a dog mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There, I had to put two of them outside so they'd shut the fuck up for this.
No, I was setting you up there because you have a little problem when someone calls you a dog mom.
I do have an issue with people that compare raising human children to dogs now.
Yeah.
Um, and I like to say it's not because I love them dogs any less. I believe they're family, but there is a difference between raising a human child and a fucking dog.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
there is, and some
Yeah,
of
a whole lot of difference.
yeah, a lot of examples. I mean, I just like to say, Has your Cocker Spaniel ever woken you up at 2 in the morning just to let you know that ducks don't have arms? Um, has your golden retriever ever stood up in public and pointed and yelled loudly, "Look, mommy, I see a brown person"?
Oh, good Lord.
Raising kids in New Hampshire is pretty tough. So
Yeah.
we get that a lot.
Ooh. Ooh.
We have like
Uh,
one. We have
no,
one
no,
brown person up
I
here.
love it because there's that I'm a cat mom or I'm a dog mom or whatever.
Yeah.
You see, there's even bumper stickers, I think.
Yes, there is. I've never subscribed to that. I have never
No, no,
subscribed to that
I
notion.
have to laugh at it too. Well, I was going to do something. The dog maybe gave, but
You can say whatever you want to me. I'm not offendable. I promise you.
Rover took over. Comedians that inspired you when you were younger, and comedians that you like now.
Oh my goodness. So my first crush was David Spade.
Spade, yeah,
As a child, David Spade and Chris Farley. I grew up in the 90s.
yeah, yeah.
David Spade, Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, that whole crew really got me. But David Spade, I had his pictures on my wall as a teenager. All my other friends had like, Teeny Bop, Teen Beat,
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and here I am with fucking Joe Dirt
I
on
was
my
just
wall.
going to say Joe Dirt. You got Joe Dirt.
So, and I would memorize. I would sit and I would play. Remember the Hollywood Minute that David Spade used to do on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah.
And I would take VHS tapes and I would record him, and I memorized. I don't remember it anymore, but I remember memorizing an entire Hollywood Minute that David Spade did, and I was just so obsessed with him growing up. And it was mostly comedic actors that I was really into. Like I wanted to be a famous comic actress as a child. I didn't pursue it. I went in the animal direction. But yeah, I would say them. Jim Carrey. Oh my God. Fire Marshal Bill. Just anything ridiculous. They were big inspirations for me. And my dad yells at me to this day because I taped over a lot of home videos of us as children of fucking Just Shoot Me. Remember David Spade starring on that show with. Yeah, so we have a lot. My dad's like, thanks so much for immortalizing Just Shoot Me instead of you riding your bike.
What about current comedians? Are there current comedians that you really like?
Oh my God, yeah. So my top three, Louis C.K. is the guy that really, like, I'd say within the last decade, really dragged me into comedy. Okay. I could sit and listen to him for hours.
There's a joke there. There's a joke there, but I'm not going to do it.
You can do it. It's okay.
No, Louis C.K. dragged you into comedy. Did he use your hand? What hand did he use? I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Thankfully, I think I was too young for him back then, but you never know, I guess, these days.
Yeah. But, he got himself in a little trouble.
A little bit of trouble, but I remember that day I still stood by him.
Somebody give him the nub rub, something like that.
I went, fuck it. I'm
Go
still
ahead.
a fan.
You're back on the air. Next caller.
I love him. I love Tom Segura. Tip top of the list. And Shane Gillis, I've discovered within the last couple of years recently is just, oh my God, like.
I'm kind of surprised there's no females on the list. There's no female comedians that.
So those are my top females. Females I like, and I found that this is an unpopular position, especially with men, but I really like Eliza Schlesinger.
Oh, no, that's good. I thought you were going to say Ellen.
No. She's not popular with men for a lot of reasons.
No. Let's move on. I don't want to run this thing into the ground. I'm trying to be nice today. I'm in a good mood.
Me too.
There's two types of people in the world.
Yep. There's only two types of people in this world.
Right. Do you want to tell people that?
Yep. There are. So my hope and prayer is that my daughter is not a tomboy the way that I was growing up. I really hope that she becomes one of those girls who washes her face on social media. You know, the girls who wash their face to hawk, beauty creams. And I think there's only two types of people in this world, the kind of person who washes their face on social media
Right.
and the kind of person who watches them wash their face on social media while they're taking a shit.
I love while they're taking his shit.
While you're
Oh, Heather, I
which
love
one are
that
you?
bit. I love that bit. I honestly love that bit just because, you know, what I love about your comedy is that you are so, it's factual and it's funny, but yet, it's true. Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I'm on Instagram or something, and I see some woman and she's doing this and it never dawned on me till you said it. Who in the fuck watches that?
Yeah, I know, right? It's just
For
people
how
on the
long? I mean,
toilet.
I'm not the target audience. I'm a man.
You could do it.
You would have to be fucking pretty as hell for me to sit. Boy, she's pretty. Watch it. Look at the way she's scrubbing her nose. God damn. I'm
You
getting,
could do it.
I'm
You got
getting harder
great
than
skin. You
Chinese
could
math
do
watching her.
it.
I'm sorry.
I got to tell you, I did take my sister-in-law does this, and she was the inspiration. I give her shit for it all the time, and she has this
What
machine.
hold on. She does these wash your face videos.
Mm-hmm. Yep, she hawks everything that you could buy, and one of them's this machine, and it
Yeah, I've seen
stands
those.
on a stand. And so I said, I'm going to help you promote this. So I took a picture of the face washing machine, and behind it, I I had my husband print out a big black dildo on his 3D printer, and I put googly eyes on it, and I had it just in the background. And I posted a picture of it on my little Catholic mother's wall, and I went, "Mom, you got to try this product. It's great." And
Oh
there's this
my
big
God.
black dick right
Oh
behind.
my God.
I'm
Uh,
helping.
that's great. No, I love you. You're fantastic. Favorite show that you've done in a year and a half, and then of course the follow up, a least favorite show.
Goodness, my favorite show.
Would
There's
it
been
be that
so
cruise ship? Would it be that first one, on the cruise ship?
that
Or
was that was life changing. So
yeah,
so that I mean that really was, and the fact that I got laughs when I was so, I mean, even looking back now, I'm glad that my husband didn't get it on video, because I hate watching myself, but I've learned to try to
me
record
too.
so I can watch. So that was probably one of the top. I got a high five from Mark Normand right afterwards. He
Okay,
said, I told him first set, he went, you broke the hymen. So I said, sure
okay.
did.
So that I didn't mean to put you. Tell me another favorite show, another one of
Favorite
yours.
show. I love anything. So I go down to an open mic in Westfield, Mass. It's
Okay,
Hooties at the Nook, and so I enjoy almost any. I was just involved in a showcase down there recently. I enjoy that because the group of comics down there are so friendly and
okay,
helpful, but also the audience that shows up to that place is absolutely just, they're young and they have just the best sense of humor. They laugh easy. They're there for a good time.
good.
No one's offended, and it's a pretty wide array of comics. So
Okay,
anything down there. But recently I was involved in a showcase there, and I had the time of my life.
cool. Well, now give me a least favorite.
I knew you were going to ask, and
Did you?
so
Did you figure that
I have
out?
to say, so for me personally, I have fun at every single one. But looking back, like I said, when I rewatch some of these
Right.
videos of myself,
Uh
any show where I am clearly more than buzzed or drunk, and
huh.
going too slow, just going too slow. I'm having a hard time naming one off the top of my head.
No, that's all
Um,
right. I got the premise. I got the idea.
yeah, yeah. Anyone where I'm just a little too tipsy. I'm a beer drinker, so I try to go real slow.
Okay.
But there's been some occasions where that's not the case, and I'm
Yeah.
just not popping pretty fast enough, and I lose. And I will say, I did have a heckler one time, and I didn't like that show because it was more of an open mic, but it broke my heart because I made her cry. I told her to shut the fuck up.
Oh no, you can't do that. You're gonna
I
have to
know,
tell me now.
I know.
What made her
I made her
cry?
cry. Yeah, yeah.
Go
I
ahead. Go
felt
ahead.
I
Come on. Spill the
well,
beans.
it was just more of like a very sweet girl that was trying to. She was very drunk, trying to inject herself into my set. Everything I said should have a response, and I never had been heckled before, so I was like, this is distracting. I was saying words wrong and losing my place, and then finally, after like the fifth time, I was like, shut the fuck up, like heavy, like death metal style, like into the mic. and she walked out, and I was like, oh, I felt, I know she asked for it, but I just felt like shit because I hate being mean to people,
No, I
and I
get it.
wasn't
I get
trying
it.
to be. I was just at the end of my rope at that point, and I think I was
I
too
get it.
worried for
I
people.
like it.
So
I think it's great.
yeah,
I do. I do. And it depends. And I don't know if the crowd was with you, which if
they
everyone
were.
else is like, yeah,
Yeah,
good job, get the
they
fuck out
yelled.
of here, beat it.
There were people that yelled "shut the fuck up" to her. So it was maybe
Right.
that was part of it. So I guess I hopefully can't take
Yeah.
all the blame, but I never like to hurt anyone's feel. That's never. I'd be an awful. I'll never be a roast comic because I just can't. I
You
can't do
probably
it.
never heard of him, but there's a comedian named Dennis Leary. Have you ever
Yes, I
heard of
know.
Dennis
I know
Leary?
who that is. Yep, yep, yep.
And he had a bit he did about he would be the world's greatest psychiatrist. Because if someone come in, well, I shut the fuck up next. Well, I got shut the fuck up next. So
Sounds
yeah,
like my upbringing.
shut the fuck up is great with me. I love that.
That's a Boston upbringing right there.
No, you have to listen to it sometime because you just picture someone on a, well, doc, shut the fuck up
Shut the fuck
next.
up. I love it.
Workplace violence courses at your work.
Yeah. Yep. So I worked in an office for a period of time, and they make us take workplace violence training courses
Right.
at this job where I work among all these little old ladies and women. And I'm like, not quite sure what the threat is, because the only act of violence that I ever witnessed in that office was the violent diarrhea that these ladies would have after free food showed up in the break room. I like to say what they did to the toilets was a hate crime.
Well, again, I didn't have a lot of time. I had some internet troubles this morning.
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of time to look through a lot of your stuff, but I saw that, and I just wanted to tell you, and this is true. I always say this: don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. But this is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to work at Lowe's.
Yep.
5 years ago, plus I got fired for telling jokes. True.
Come on, Lowe's.
But when I saw your thing this morning,
yeah,
it made me think back. We had to do active shooter training.
Yes.
Now just let that sink in.
I just went
just let that sink in. Active shooter training.
I went somewhere.
They're watching the video, and I think their instructions were to hide, run, hide, or fight.
The visual in my head now.
And they have a guy with a fire extinguisher. Yeah, active shooter training.
Oh, I love that.
You got to question yourself at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
How much are they paying me to do this job?
To do this job, exactly.
Oh my God. But I'm curious now, did you ever have to actually take workplace violence courses?
Yeah, just but it was all remote and on a computer, whether we were in the office or at home. And I was like, what the hell are we? And that's where I started thinking, because I'm like, they still make us take this even though we were working from home. So I spun it. I was like, I spun it. I could act like I was the one having violent diarrhea.
I was just going to say, your husband probably doesn't like that joke. I had to do a workplace violence video and I work from home.
Test them on him ever. I don't test them on him ever. But the way to spend the blame wasn't on me. So
no, there's so many jokes there. I know you like dark, dirty humor, or at least dark stuff.
Yeah.
And it made me think, and whenever I do these, I think of jokes, as people, I've been doing this, 5 years plus, and the joke that came into mind, maybe you've heard it, is, what's the first thing a woman should do when she gets out of an abuse shelter? The dishes.
Get that bitch back in the kitchen.
Get back in that kitchen and start cleaning. I'll knock you. I'll drop you like a bad transmission.
I love it.
Pull you out like wholesale carpet.
That's
all
great.
Right. Now I saw another bit. Again, I didn't have a lot of time, but when you go to the doctor's office.
Yep.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, I think so. Is this the one with the cup?
Yeah. you
So
want to elaborate on that? I thought
yeah,
that
I
was
will. I
great.
will. Yeah. So we live in a small town where there isn't a lot of crime, but this is a true story, by the way. Recently, a girl was
Okay.
caught urinating on produce in some local grocery stores and getting
What?
away with it. Yeah, since 2021. Like I don't know how she wasn't caught. It's just because she was filming it that she caught it. And I'm like, I didn't really understand quite how she was accomplishing this so swiftly.
Hold on. Let me just go back over for people like me that don't pay smoke too much pot.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was urinating in the supermarket on
Yep.
produce.
Yep. Yep. She was peeing on either so my brain went to just picturing her squatting over a fucking cabbage. But for all
those
I know, she was
those
just
leaks taste funny. She took a leak on my leak.
she took a leak on my leaks. But she
Okay.
got caught and arrested finally. And it's been 2 years. She's been doing it since 2021. So
Was she posting the videos on TikTok and shit?
I think it was like a my fans thing, personally. I think it was sexual.
OnlyFans, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans, not my fans, not
I
my
was
fans,
gonna
not my
say,
fans. No,
oh,
no.
maybe you have one of those, huh, Heather? You have an OnlyFans? You have your
No,
fans?
no, 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 no. I'm the last person
I
who'd
went
want
on
to
a
see.
website. It was just ceiling fans and box fans and
I'm not too quick on the uptake, so that's exactly what it would be.
okay. So this girl was urinating in on the
Yeah.
produce, and
Yes.
this is what caused your bit to come around.
Yeah. So, like, I was just picturing as a woman how impressive that is. You can picture a guy whipping it out and pissing on things and walking away and getting away, even filming it. But I remember just any girl who goes to a doctor's office who needs to provide a urine sample, they hand you a thimble, like a
Yeah.
Dixie cup. And they're like, may the odds be ever in your favor. And you're in there, and I'll tell you, it takes a lot of tries and tears, but you got the cup down there, and you're ready, and you try to prepare yourself, and the stream just goes straight left, and you're like, all right, regroup, try again. You think you got it figured out, you shimmy a little bit, all of a sudden Thanos opens a second portal and there's two streams going in two different directions, hits the cup. There's sweat and tears at the end of it, and you're handing it to the nurse, just hoping she doesn't notice that it's not pee. But I thought I was just impressed with the girl's precision, because I know that if I have all the time in the world in a locked bathroom, I can't piss into a cup. Never mind like pee on an eggplant and stroll away casually. But good for her. Good for her. Good on her.
I don't I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I I guess you know what? Let me just say this. I'm going to pull you off full screen for a second, just because again, a lot of your humor, I guess I can relate because see, like when I have, they imagine from my vantage point, they say, Scott, we need you to pee into a cup.
Who's this for?
Well, the little fella, he's kind of squirting all over the cup, and I got piss all over my hands. It's a bad ordeal.
Thanos shows up for
I
men
get
too.
traumatized by it, and it took you to bring it out that maybe give me more like a bigger bin.
Yeah. Why don't they offer something bigger? Why don't they offer something just a little bit bigger? A little bit bigger. Come
Never
on.
thought, never. Well, and again, going back to my, where you had to piss to give them a urine sample so they could test it. Well,
Yeah.
actually, no. Now I think back, they actually didn't. I didn't had to do that. They did a hair sample,
Oh, a hair
drug
sample
testing for drug testing.
for drug testing. That's
Uh,
easier. Depends
yeah,
on the hair, though.
my old job, back when I was in the music business, they actually drug tested. But if you tested negative, you weren't hired. You had to be positive. You had to do drugs.
Isn't Well, that's fascinating. That explains a lot about your creativity.
I saw a video, and you mentioned it earlier, of you on stage with this huge dog. Is that the Great Dane you're talking about?
That's my Great Dane. That's
And
my
I've
big
seen
boy.
videos. You have a
Yeah,
number of pets, a number of dogs, and kids.
yeah,
Man,
yeah.
your videos are incredible.
Full house. We had 9 dogs in our house about a summer before last. We foster, so we do a lot of we do pug rescue, and we had a litter of puppies here. And right
Okay.
now we're taking a little break because housebreaking a Great Dane is not for the faint of heart. but he's 170 pounds, so he outweighs me.
Huge,
Yeah,
huge.
but they're the gentlest and they're the biggest pussies you'll ever meet in your life. He's such a
How did
baby.
it come about, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure.
I mean, I get because I had two beagles. You can go to my Facebook page, and I'll put all the links to your Facebook,
I've
your
seen your
Instagram.
beagles too. I love
If you have
them.
a YouTube channel, whatever, if I can help you with that, I will. Anything
Yeah,
I can do to help you, I will.
thank
But
you.
I noticed on the Instagram where the big dog was on stage with you. How did that come about?
So, one of my friends who runs a multitude of open mics around the Western Mass, Joey Buddha, he started a new mic at a brewery called Bright Ideas
Okay.
in East. No, it's in Westfield, Mass.
Okay.
And this brewery allows dogs in there. So I showed up and I was like, first night, didn't know. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I can bring my dog. And
Okay.
everyone who knows me is I'm very, very dog obsessed. So I decided that he would be the
Hey,
first one that I'd
seriously,
bring.
Heather, take a second. You
Sure.
actually have a business and you can mention it with the pictures.
Yes, thank you so
Good.
much. Yeah, I am the owner of Paw Prints Dog Photography. I am a
Right.
professional dog photographer. I've been doing it for about a decade now, and I thought people are taking professional pictures of their babies. Why aren't they doing this with their dogs? And I've got a little nice side hustle doing it,
Well,
and hopefully
the reason
full
I
time.
got sidetracked again, I smoke a lot of pot.
That's all right.
No, I don't know. With me, my life's an open book. I'll
Yeah,
just go to YouTube, last 5 years of Chronicle. You can just see them all.
yeah,
But I mentioned your YouTube. On my Facebook, I had two beagles.
yeah,
Both of them broke my heart when they died, and I
yeah,
can't have another dog just because
yeah,
beagles are special to me.
yeah.
They just look at you, give you that look. And Snoop was both of them were girls, and
Oh,
Snoop and Hope Hope were the two beagles. And I just have
oh.
a soft spot for dogs.
Oh God, I'm telling you, it's the hardest thing about having them. Their lives are
Yeah,
criminally short.
yeah,
Their
and that's
lives are
why
criminally
when Hope
short.
Hope died, I it was over COVID and stuff, and I said I can't do this again.
Yeah, it's
As
a
much as I
lot.
would love to have another dog, and I'm so envious watching you with the dogs, and I love it.
You'll get a lot of it on my. I'll repost one of my videos. I used to be a dog trainer. I've done
Okay,
everything in the dog world.
right.
And I did have to step back from fostering because I did have a pretty traumatic. It's rescue is not all glitz and glamour and fun. There's a lot of heartbreak. We adopted an 11-year-old dog, so
Oh,
we didn't have a lot of time with her.
yeah,
We had a puppy that was born with
right.
a congenital condition, and he
No, no,
died in
no,
my
no, no,
arms
no,
at
no,
women's
no. You're
care.
grinding this
So
comedy thing to a fucking halt. Stop.
I didn't laugh, but
No,
anyways,
no.
it's
I, I
it's a
get it.
lot.
I get it.
Yeah.
No, and you did say, and a lot of the videos. I mean, I saw one. I think it was yesterday where there was a dog coming in out of the bed, and then a child came out of the bed, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" I loved it. I loved it.
Was that my house? Because it
Well, the
sounds like it.
video it's on your Instagram page.
Oh yeah. No, that makes we have 4 dogs here right now, and they're
Four
all
dogs.
ours. Four.
Okay.
Yep. We have
Okay.
4. We have a pit
And
bull, a golden mix, a Great Dane, and a little blind pug.
we're going to get on to your comedy minute in a second, but I also saw, I think it was your latest video. I don't know if you just posted last night, but I had to laugh because your daughter is a daredevil.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had to laugh at the music you chose, the Jackass theme song. And and I got to tell you, I was all hyped up to see her smash her little head. And instead, she just made a cute little jump. And I was like,
she's
ah,
she's
that's
fearless.
misleading. That's clickbait.
Yeah, she's feeling. I've got a lot of material in her. So she was diagnosed with autism.
Okay.
She has absolutely no fear. We're learning a lot, and I've got some new material that I'm working on for her. With living with
Yeah.
a kid like this.
Right.
But that's one of the things that she does. Is my life is constantly just trying to keep her in a safe bubble, and we
Okay.
find her up on trying
Well,
to
of
pull the
course, I
chandelier
would
down.
pick. I would pick on that. No, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to. I didn't know she was autistic. I didn't know that.
No, I have such we have such a sense of humor about it, and I think that if you can't laugh, then
Right.
what are we doing?
Well, no, in defense of myself, all it shows is, it shows her up on this, like a chair or something.
Yeah,
Jumps
yeah.
on like a little trampoline or something. But I felt misled because I heard the Jackass theme. I thought, oh, cool, this little girl's gonna fall on her head.
She's gonna wipe out. We have plenty of those too. She crashes the
Well,
scooter in
good.
the
I want to see
wall. It's
some of
like,
those. You got to post some of those.
I will. I will. I
I'm
absolutely will.
teasing. I'm teasing. Well, Heather, listen, man, I've had a wonderful time.
Me too.
I
Me
really
too.
did. You
This
are
is great.
fantastic, and I think you're great, and I love your bits. And if you want, if you had a good time, come back. You know,
Definitely.
6 months or so down the road, we'll see how you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd
How's
love
that
to.
sound?
I would love
But
to.
we have one last little bit of work we need to do. I had told you about it. Hopefully, you got something good for me.
I do. I
Don't
do.
let the truth get in the way of a good story. Your comedy minute. Go ahead, my friend.
All right. So I decided to start with my first bit, which
Okay.
I've tried to cultivate and make a little better. A lot of my material had to do with torturing my mother growing up.
Right.
I grew up in a Catholic household, which is why I'm so fucked up, I think.
Okay.
So growing up, my mom, my favorite thing to do was torture her because she's very prim and proper and always, hoped for a girly daughter. Again, that wasn't me. And I'd play pranks on her. For example, I would do this thing called antiquing. It's not shopping for anxiety-inducing furniture. It's this thing where you take a fistful of all-purpose flour and you blast someone in the face with it, and the end result is they look like a dusty old antique. So there was one summer where I was fucking with her a lot because I was around a lot. And so I did that to her for the first time. I said, have you ever been antique? Did it. I also would teach her bad words. So words that, her Catholic brain didn't know. I called her a queef one time. And I think around that same time period. And she didn't know what it was. She didn't know what it meant. I forced her to ask her brother what that meant. So this is all coming to the one single story. So flash forward 10, maybe less, 5 years later, we're all at a cookout and she's holding court and she's trying to tell people, like family members, a funny story about her rascally daughter, Heather. And her memory isn't great. She doesn't remember things very well. And I don't know if you've ever known anyone who mixed up two different words.
Yeah.
Um, and she looks at everyone and she said, Heather, remember that summer? Do you remember that time you queefed me in the face? And I immediately knew what she was trying to do, but no one else did. Everybody actually thought that my innocent mother, who doesn't swear, was accusing me of, like, I don't know, squatting over her head
I was just gonna say.
and letting it rip. Like, what were they picturing? And a few people, I have an uncle that gets very embarrassed very easily, and he had friends there, and he just fucking pieced out without explaining to them that what had happened. And everyone's, the people that thought it was funny laughed.
She meant antiquing.
She meant antiquing. So she meant antiquing. And so I'm like, my brain just kind of went to, it sort of married the two. So my brain did something more visual. I did picture antiquing her in the face, but not with my fists.
Oh.
So that's a bit that
I love it. I love it. And you know what? Yeah. One thing that I for some reason, and every one of these is different. We never met.
Yeah.
And there's a couple times where you're saying something, and I have to be honest. I'm 62 years old. I'm old.
Yeah.
And antiquing, I didn't know what that was till you said it, and then throwing the flower. So I'm picturing that. And then we got queef, and then we got mom. I'm not even going to go on. I think we're just going to stop. I think you got the idea there. The flower. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
She listened to this. She's come to shows where I've done this bit, so she appreciates it now.
No. Mom, I'm sorry. I hope we never meet live. Heather, this has been a blast.